Don't you click that remote. Don't you change anything, because if you do, you're going to miss a really, really, really good show, because our guest this evening is Hadley Finch. Look, she's going to tell you, if you're like some guy out there and your wife has gone out and had an affair, okay, and you're just like down in the dumps and you don't know what you're going to do and how you're going to fix things, oh, your life is just, you're going to find out watching the show. You think it's about politics? No. This is all about relationships and all about setting things right and all about getting your life on track. So don't you click that remote, because if you do, you're going to miss Hadley Finch and a really, really, really good show. You're watching Public Affairs. Berkowitz is my name, and politics is our game usually. But look, this night, it's summer. We're going to do it a little differently. It's a little lighter, even if it is dealing with people who've had a terrible loss. Their wife of 25 years died. Their wife of 25 years went out with some, she's like, what do they call it? What do they call it when you get a 50-year-old?
A cougar.
Cougar, yeah. Found out your wife is a cougar. And so you're wondering, what do you do? Well, you go to Hadley Finch, and Hadley Finch is a love guide. And Hadley, there's so many places. We're taping this show on August 7th, but you may be seeing this in late August or early September. And like Hadley Finch is going to be all over the country, right? Because you're going to be on the newsstand. What's that called?
Apple Newsstand.
Apple Newsstand.
Yes, I have a new magazine coming out. I'm partnering with Apple, and it's called Happy Sexy Love magazine.
So people, Happy Sexy Love magazine, because look, it's kind of redundant, because if you have sexy love, that's pretty good. If you have sexy, happy sexy. But seriously, let's get serious. What is this about, this Happy Sexy Love magazine?
Well, I talk with top experts, and we help you spark passionate intimacy, romantic fun, and a lasting love in your relationship.
A lasting love.
A lasting love.
And so if people seriously, and there are a lot of people, they thought they were going to be watching politics and public affairs, but look, there's some people out there, maybe they are 50 years old, maybe two of them, they're 50, they've been married for 25 years, and they've just about had it, and they're about ready to get divorced. And you think you can put things back together?
I think the reason our divorce rate is so high in America, the highest in the world, is because we don't have love skills to get unstuck from ruts, to overcome challenges that are predictable. When life throws you a curve, you have to know how to field it. And you can learn these things. We don't often learn by watching our parents or in school, but all of these love skills can be learned.
But Hadley, what do you know about this? Why should they think that Hadley Finch knows anything? Have you had experience in this? Are you a trained psychologist, psychiatrist, sexologist? What?
Well, I studied psychology at Northwestern, but I really started on this mission after my long, happy marriage ended tragically. And I was slammed to my knees in grief over the loss of my marriage, wondering how to start fresh, how to heal heartbreak, how to reinvent my life.
How old were you when this happened?
I was an adult, ageless and timeless.
But you had been married for what, more than
25
decades?
years.
25 years.
25 years, right.
And
so to start over with preteen kids.
Well, what happened? You'd been happily married for most of those years?
Yes,
right?
Things just got a little off track.
Well, tell us. So your husband ran off with somebody half your age?
That doesn't really matter. There's something.
Well, what? Give people an idea when you say something happened.
A heartbreaking, like a little midlife crazy issue happened. Okay. And had I known then what I know now, I would have been able to have the skills to repair the damage after infidelity and make your relationship better than ever. People often say it will never be the same, and that's true. You can make it better than ever, that's what people need to know, and it's just learning how to do it.
But you didn't know that at the time.
I didn't know that at the time, and that's why I started this journey.
But what did you do at the time? Even though it was the wrong thing, what did you do?
I did everything wrong.
Give us an idea of what the wrong thing was.
I was enraged, I was jealous, I was angry. We never fought ever, so I became like a jealous monster who I didn't even recognize. So everything I was doing was pushing him further away.
Pushing him away. But it was a
Pushing him
natural
away.
thing for you to
It
feel
was.
that way, right?
Like
You were
you're
justified, weren't you?
slammed by
Yeah.
a tidal wave of all these
course.
emotions that you don't know how to handle
Well, you
them.
didn't intend to push him away, but you did things that did. Why did they push him away?
Well, because it wasn't the sweet, loving person that I normally was. It was like, who is this person who's so angry about what happened?
Well, so what should you have done if you had, if you knew then what you know now? What would you have done to bring? You think you could have brought your husband back home? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we ultimately repaired all the issues that separated us. But if you want to repair the marriage and make it better than ever, there you have some direct conversations, ideally not in a rageful situation. You can talk with a counselor or a marriage counselor to get out your positions, to find out what you were lacking, what you both could contribute to the relationship to make it better than ever. If someone strayed, you need a commitment to apologize and not do that again if you want this marriage to work. And if you don't have that, if one wants to make it work, the other wants to leave, chances are that won't work.
So you both have to, so on finding this out that your, say, husband has done something, it's the same as if your wife had done something.
Yeah, whoever is
Whoever
breaching.
it is, you have to get them to be willing to work with you to make your marriage better than ever.
Right, you can't do it alone. However, you can use some of these love skills on your own to improve your own interactions. And that naturally brings out new behavior in your partner when they see you behaving in new ways, and it's how you start fresh.
And so you're a love guide,
Yes,
because that means you guide people through the love process. Is that what that means?
I do. I help singles find love, and I help couples get over these relationship hurdles and spark a lasting fire of love with your partner.
And so this Apple newsstand, what is that for people who may not know?
Well, it's very exciting. I'm an Apple girl. They've helped me build my business, and you'll be able to find for your iPad or your iPhone a magazine, and it has videos and audios and graphics and love quotes and photographs and everything to help you.
You find this on your iPhone and on your iPod?
Or your iPad.
And you can do that starting in September.
In September,
And it's going to be
2000.
it'll be a monthly video magazine, essentially.
Well, it's
It
interactive.
have audios as well.
Audios, videos,
Okay, so-
articles.
And you can find out about it. Is it your blog? That's happysexylove.com?
Yes, I will give people the first issue for free, and that'll be a collector's item. So if you go to my blog at happysexylove.com in September beginning, you can download the first issue as my gift.
And you're going to have a book coming out called Happy Sexy Love in
romantic relationships.
Is there any other kind? I mean, if you're going to have Happy Sexy Love, of course it's going to be a romantic relationship, right?
Well, or you can have it on your own. In the way you live your daily life can be happy, can be sexy, and you can be love. And that's the ideal.
Without another person, you can have
Absolutely.
it on your own? Seriously?
That all comes within. So it's not determined by whether or not you're in a relationship. Being happy, being sexy, being love are all self-generated. And then you attract someone who also appreciates that, and then you can make it even better when you share. The Chinese proverb is, joys shared are doubled, sorrows shared are halved. So
you think the Chinese got it right?
I think so. That's the ideal.
And so this Happy Sexy Love in romantic relationships, people can get as an audiobook?
That will be out also. September is a big month for me. That will be an audiobook on audible.com, and also in
Is
print.
that how they get it? By going, where do they go to get it?
They will go to audible.com,
Okay.
and it's 24 of my best radio interviews with top guests.
And what's the third thing that happens? Something else?
The
in
third
September?
thing is very exciting for single people looking for love. I will guide you through the process to find love for New Year's Eve.
And where would they go to find out more about that?
They would go to singleslovematches.com.
So that's like a 12-week program. So if they started that in late September, by New Year's Eve, they would have found somebody?
Well, they would have found the happy, sexy love within and taken the steps to get out there and meet your match. The great love you're seeking is seeking you. So how do you find each other? In this 3-month program, I guide you through the process.
What if somebody's skeptical out there? Because, people, watching this program, they're often talking to politicians, or they see me talking to politicians. So they're kind of cynical. And they say, this is kind of crazy. I'm just saying, because I don't want to put it too blunt. And say you got a guy who's out there and he's like 300 pounds. He's like 150 pounds overweight, maybe 100 pounds. Okay, he's a mess. He doesn't know how to dress. He doesn't take care of himself. He doesn't think he's attractive to anybody. What can you do for that guy?
Well, easy. You change your point of view about yourself, because what you focus on expands. So if he sees the gorgeous hunk who is in all of this, and he starts looking at himself and all of the beautiful qualities that he has, you lead with your strengths, and that becomes your dominant vibration, rather than feeling he wants to hide under a lot of flab.
Or does he have to get that flab away? Or
there are people who love,
people?
love dating people
There are
with...
people who love fat people, aren't there? Seriously.
Well, they love meat on the bone. So you want to find someone who loves you back. That's in eating. You want to love food that loves you back, too.
Don't you think he's got to start thinking about eating healthy, losing weight, exercising?
We do all that.
He has to do all those things.
Yeah, in the magazine we have Love Food That Loves You Back, and you'll learn how to do that, too.
And people, if they want to get in touch with you and they want help, it's easy, right?
Help me at happysexylove.com. You can send me an email and I'll write you back.
Okay, so Hadley, I'm just thinking, because people know this and they know, reach across. We talk a lot about economics, free to choose, Milton and Rose Friedman. Milton was famous for, you may have heard this, Tans to Fall, which is an acronym for there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Mm-hmm. You're kind of telling people there's a free lunch, because no matter what's happened to you, no matter how terrible it is, you can fix it just by, just thinking positively is almost what you're saying.
Well, yes, but you can rewrite a happy ending to your sad story without lying, and I guide you through the process. So there are mental shifts that you can make that make major changes in your life.
But is this going to be costly to people, or is this a free lunch? Are you going to guide them for nothing?
Oh, no, that is a paid program. My blog is free, and currently the dating site is free. But this 12 weeks to love, find love for New Year's Eve, that will be a paid program.
Really? And how much does it cost?
I haven't quite decided
that.
That's still in process. You're
doing the pricing model, so in a sense, there's always economics in this program.
It is. Milton is right.
Right,
yeah.
Because there ain't no such thing as a free lunch.
Well, and if people don't pay, they don't value it. And this is like a commitment to change your life. Michelangelo always said, they asked him, how did you create this sculpture of Moses? And he said he just took the marble and carved away anything that wasn't Moses. And that's what you do within yourself. You don't have to fix yourself. You just carve away the things that aren't love and joy and sexy, wonderful qualities, because that's who you really are.
So does this work for, just in general? So we've got people of all ages watching this program.
All ages.
You can have 20-somethings out there, we can have 50-somethings out there. So 30-somethings, for whatever.
70-somethings. It works, whatever.
But if you're in economics, the whole dating process, we would say, and actually economists have written a lot about this, and they say this is the economics of it's information costs. And there's a whole area of economics that deals with information costs. So part of what you're dealing with here is just the whole online dating process. First we start with dating, then we go to online. One is a subset of the other. And if you're dating, it's the information. Okay, you're a guy.
You know what? This sounds serious. It should be a fun process, and I'm making it fun for people. And we have live video chats. You can meet in live video before you decide to meet in a coffee shop. Or like I did, I traveled to 2 continents to meet someone.
Would you do it again?
No, I would meet on video first because he put an old photo up on the
So you can now have Skype. You didn't have Skype in the
Well,
old days, is that
it's
what's
actually within my single site, so it's not
You can
Skype.
do that.
You can
within
do
your
that.
single site.
Yeah,
Which is
so
going to
it's
cost
right.
you something.
No, that part is
That's
free.
free?
The dating site is free, but the guided love quest
But
is
you know,
will charge
people
for
do
that.
Match. You've heard of Match, right?
Yes.
And so if people do Match, they, anybody knows this, it's probably similar in other online dating services. You fill out information about yourself, you upload some pictures, and then they send you stuff. You look at it, and then they look at yours, and that's what I mean about information costs. So before people are even thinking of meeting, they're looking and saying, who would I like to meet? Can you help them in that process as to what they should be looking for? Because guys would just say, I just look for a pretty girl. That's it.
Look.
Is that the right thing? Should a guy just look for a pretty girl, do you think? Or is that being too simple?
I think you need a little more than that.
You think?
We attract what we are, not what we want. So the key is to look at all the qualities you have in yourself and bring out your best ones, because you want to attract the best version of you, and that's who's going to find you attractive.
So you lead with your strengths. So
You lead with your strengths and forget about your
what
weaknesses.
would be an example? Just like let's stick with, okay, let's shift it over. You know girls, probably. So if there's a woman out there and say she's like 42, okay? Mm-hmm. Maybe 48. Let me take
Age doesn't matter. In my dating site, you don't even post your age. You post the range.
Seriously?
Yeah, because on the major
it's very
sites.
important to a lot of women. I know
Listen, because people fudge about their age on
They
the other
do?
one. They do. And so
So
on
they
my
could fudge
site,
about their range. What's the
you
difference?
put the range that you want, the 10 or 20 year range, and that's where your photos go in the searches. So if you're looking for someone 30 years younger, your photo is going to show up 30 years younger.
No, but really, most people, let's just take a number and then tell us. So if you're on Match, they do ask for your age. They don't really check, but say somebody puts down say somebody is 45, but they put down 40, because I'm told.
They want to be in the searches.
Well, women
That's
on
why
average,
they fudge
women
them.
on average, you call it fudge. Somebody might be harsh and say, women on average on Match lie about 4 years for every woman. So if a woman's 45, she puts down 41, and she might say, well, because I know guys are looking for 42, so that puts me within the search.
And what about men?
And men sometimes do the same thing.
Yes, and
Okay.
men tend to lie about their income also.
Oh, so they inflate their income higher.
Yes,
Because
and
they
their
think women are
height.
gold
They
diggers.
often-
They think women are gold diggers.
And men can be gold diggers. But,
Okay.
take all that negativity out of your search. It's really to find.
No, but you have to deal with reality. You need to take it out of your search. People are sometimes not truthful. How's that? People are sometimes not truthful, so they may lie about their age, they may lie about their income, they may lie about when they went to school. They may be complete liars. And if so, what do you do about that?
Well, before you enter a serious relationship, background check. You make sure.
So you do like
totally.
a criminal background check?
Absolutely.
Pay some money and do it right?
Yes, you do it
'cause
right, and there's some. It's
small
not
amount
that
of money,
expensive.
you can find out everything.
you can find out anything. You always would protect yourself.
Assuming you're interested.
But you see,
don't
with
just
live
do it.
video
Okay,
chats,
okay.
you can see how people are today.
Well, you can see how they look, but
how
you
they
still,
look and
so you
how
don't care.
tall they are.
So if somebody's like, say 50 years old, but he looks 35 and he puts down he's 35, it's okay, you're saying, because if he looks 35,
I'm
it's
saying
okay.
ageless and timeless. I like the Deepak Chopra way of
Okay.
don't pinpoint an age as you age,
Okay.
and your body doesn't live up to it. So that's how you
So
stay
let's
youthful.
say we got past the
You didn't
information.
like that. That just you were letting that go right
I don't
over.
even know what it said. Didn't I say that? No, because I'm just saying I think we're getting down in the weeds. So about the information, I understand people lie and all that, but I'm trying to get at something a little bit maybe more helpful, I think. Okay, your stuff is very helpful, but say, again, on the nitty-gritty, say somebody's online, could be Match or something else. Do you have some hints for them as to, see, girls tell me this, that a lot of guys, they can't just compose an email. That's why they wink. Wink is where you don't really write something, say anything. So if you were a guy and you really knew you weren't good at writing and you say always lead with your strength, what do you do?
I would say go online on my site and schedule a video chat and meet on a video.
So that's your strength. Get away from writing.
Get away
say,
from writing.
You
don't have to write. See who I am. You know.
On your site, they can do it. I don't think you can do that on Match. I
It's
think
the
that's
only
an advantage.
site. My site is the only
video
site where
ones
you
you-
can do this.
Well,
Yes.
you can be on Match, and then you can see who's available for a chat, and then I think.
But it's not video.
It's not a video.
It's
Your
not
point,
video,
it's gotta be
and
video.
I'm saying, but to understand people, you know, when you're talking, you see visual, you see tone of voice, you see posture and body language. All that you can see in video, which you can't even if you're talking on the phone.
But you always hear that guys are more visual than girls. Do you think that's right?
No, everybody is
Everybody's
visual. We're
visual?
very visual. Yes, and it's good to get that.
Girls are as visual.
And the blink
Okay.
factor starts going. You know, the blink factor, where
blink-
you can tell in a few seconds
somebody's
if there's
blinking?
potential.
Why? What's the blink factor?
You haven't read the.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Where did I
okay.
learn
Well, the
about
blink-
the blink factor?
Oh, it's the University of Chicago guy, your alma mater. He wrote
Really?
about the blink factor in the first
Was he in
few
economics too?
seconds.
Was that in
This
economics?
is an economics.
Seriously?
factor.
Blink
In the
factor?
first
Didn't know that.
few seconds that you meet somebody, your body reads like 1,000 qualities to see if you're a good match. So if you don't have that visual connection, you miss that.
Right,
So
so-
that's why I give it right away.
No, but does that mean if you're blinking a lot, you've got the visual connection? Is that what it means?
In the first blink, you read all that you want to know about someone.
Just like that?
Just like that. Like you know, you may meet for coffee 3 times.
Okay, but what do women really want? Let me just cut right to the chase here.
Well,
Because you've heard that question. What do women
Mel
really
Gibson did that. Freud was exploring that. But I
want?
think
What do
it's
you? Well, do
unique
you
for
do? No, I know. We'll come to men in a
happy,
second.
sexy love
I know, but
in
just start with
whatever
that.
form it takes.
Let's give them somebody specific. So guys want to know, what do women really want? You know girls, right? You know women.
Yes.
What do they want?
Happy, sexy love.
They
in
wanna be
whatever
happy,
package.
sexy love.
Yeah, I think that's the ideal.
Well, what is happy, sexy love?
You want to be happy. You want it to be fun. You want to have passionate intimacy. And you want it to be true and lasting love.
Does it get to be sex at some point? I mean, do you have to have sex
Sex-
for passion and intimacy, or is it not true?
That is a big part of it. And
Sex is a big
sexual
part.
healing is something Marvin Gaye made it sound like you could have it in one night of great sex. But to really
You
benefit,
probably have to have 2 nights of great sex. Marvin was wrong.
it's
on that.
actually several years in a
Several
committed
years?
relationship of having sex 2 to 3 times a week with your committed partner.
That's the
what
number,
it
2 to
takes.
3 times?
2 to 3 times a
You
week.
found that. That's
what the
So guys,
research
if you're
said.
wondering what should be, 2 to 3. Ladies, 2 to 3.
2 to
If
3.
you're not getting 2 to 3,
Then you're not getting the health benefits of
sex.
Of a sexy
It's actually
relationship.
good for like your complexion, people say, if you've had
For
sex 2 or 3
everything,
times
for
a week.
every organ in your body.
Seriously.
In
it
fact,
does.
60 Minutes just did a show on that within the last year, and they found that
Now, does that
happy
continue for, like-
100-year-old people still are
Still.
sexual active.
So those 100-year-olds
sexually
are having sex 2 or 3 times a week?
in those old folks' homes.
Really? 2 or 3 times a week? You're not kidding? How do you know that? You're just
They
you
they
don't
had the
know?
person who did the study.
Study, yes, okay.
Right, and I
Okay.
read about the study too. But it's a secret, and some people deny sex for certain reasons, and that's not a healthy choice.
Right. You should never use sex as a weapon
No.
or anything. It's a
Right.
part of a intimacy is not. Oh, kidding aside. So sometimes people confuse intimacy or sex with intimacy. You can
Or
be,
sex with love.
or
A
sex
lot
with
of
love.
people confuse sex
So
with love.
intimacy and sex and love are all involved, but they are separate things, right?
They're separate things.
Kindness is very important. Is that
Yes. To me, it's chemistry, communication, and kindness.
right? Chemistry, communication, and kindness.
Right. And chemistry can just be coming alive in someone's presence.
Would see girls and guys, but I think maybe girls more than guys, but maybe guys. So you meet, if you go on an online thing, you have all these things that are not called a date. It's like you get together for
A meeting.
coffee. A meeting.
Right. It's a meeting.
And that's what they say. When you've had that, they say in 2 minutes, some women say, and some guys, in 2 minutes they can tell whether there's chemistry. Do you think that's right?
Well, we're talking about the blink factor, and that is part of the body and the subconscious mind registering so much that you may not even be aware of.
It's all appearance.
No, it's not. It's reading on many levels.
In 2 minutes, it's reading on many levels.
Yes.
You can really tell.
Yes, and
you
you
can tell
can
how
tell-
smart they are. You can tell whether there's depth. You can tell whether the person's considerate. Of course not. All you can tell. Look, Hadley, you're kind of a pretty girl, right? Seriously, I'm not getting fresh here, but you are. Okay.
Well, thank you.
So, and the thing is, if you weren't pretty, you wouldn't be as attractive, and in 2 minutes, guys would just walk out. Now, in 2 minutes with you, they may stay a little longer, and then they want to say, okay, are you smart? Because I think for some guys, that's important.
Smart is sexy,
Right.
and that is true.
And the same thing, a woman might also be attracted to a man, but she wants to find out if the guy is smart. In many
Right.
cases, not all cases. Some women might like dumb guys. I don't know, right? I mean, seriously, you can't generalize
Well,
completely
there's
about this.
personal preference.
Okay.
Yes. Some people are intimidated by really brainy people.
But so, well, what's the whole takeaway as people think about this? One, you've got a bunch of products you're selling. That's important. But two, and I'm not kidding around now, we've been kidding around a little bit, but if you're really getting serious about this, okay, what is it that makes a really, really, really good relationship between a man and a woman?
Okay. Committed sex, passionate, a joy in living. You each have your own things that you love to do on your own. Date nights during each week that you don't talk about kids or careers, duties or deadlines. You focusing on each other. You build a foundation of fun. Core values. If you decide how you're going to handle life's curves when they come along. Choose a vision for your life together.
It's like a lot. Is that like a date, or is that like a lifetime? You've thrown out so much.
Well, you can do all this in the first few dates, and if you don't...
You really think you can do that?
Absolutely.
In the first few times, you're going to sit down with somebody, you've only met them once or twice, and you're going to talk about all of those things?
Of course. Why waste your time?
What do you think? Do you think, for starters, to have a really good relationship, does it have to be a monogamous relationship or an exclusive relationship?
I interviewed a man who did the book on this, Sex at Dawn, and he said humans are not monogamous and never were, but we've built our marriages on monogamy, and that's why we've had a lot of problems.
Really? So do you agree with him that you don't think men and women should be monogamous?
There are no shoulds in this. I think
Well,
monogamy is a choice. If you want the relationship to work, as soon as you introduce, as Diana used to say, their marriage got crowded, as soon as that happens, things break, and it's harder to repair it. So talk about all these issues in advance.
No, but so you can't give me an answer whether you, Hadley Finch, think that if you really want to have a good, serious, wonderful relationship, it should be monogamous? You can't say.
For me, that's what I prefer. There are other people who don't want
you don't think it's necessary.
They think part of their emotional growth is to be with other people and to have their love partner be,
So
that's part of their
Bill Clinton
growth.
might be a guy, do you think he really doesn't want to have a monogamous relationship, just to pick a name?
It didn't appear that way,
It
did
didn't
it?
appear that way.
No. But things may be different now. I don't know. Plus, he's had some health scares, and sometimes your values shift.
But do you think
But
love is much more
monogamy
intense
is a
if it's
choice.
monogamous? Do you think that love relationship is stronger if it's monogamous?
I believe that it is. I believe that it's much more beautiful.
On the other
for
hand,
this.
do you think sex gets boring if you have it with the same person all the time?
Not if you're doing so many things to keep it fresh and fun.
What would those things be that you would do?
Like tantric touch and
Tantric touch.
tantric
So like
touch.
holding a hard ball, and just got a tantric touch, sort of?
Well, it's a whole system of things that you
Give me
can do
one.
to keep
Give me
things.
something specific about that tantric touch.
Well, there are kissing games. For example, if you want to be the best kisser, you would.
Kissing is important. Stealing
Yes,
kisses.
but you could have a game where your partner will